So is academia really toxic? And one answer is yeah, I mean, it can be, but I think the bigger thing that we're actually often talking about is that it's isolating. And if you think about the structure of it, it's everybody against everybody else, and everybody is trying to work to get ahead of everybody else. So you can imagine it's probably close. A nice simulator of, say, Wall Street traders, where everybody is sort of selling their ideas and saying, trying to get ahead at that particular idea. And because of that, um, sometimes people do like not very nice things, but I think the majority of the time people are just isolated. People are lonely. People are not necessarily connecting with other people. And the fact is that even if you try to connect with other people, it's considered that you're wasting your time. It's considered problematic, that you're unprofessional, that you're not working. You know, um, all of these sort of things create, often can create bad behavior. But and then on top of it, we sort of have this as subjective measures and where people stand, and everybody has their own idea of where you should stand or where they stand, and so there's, um, you know, they're often sort of suggesting that they're better than everybody else, but ultimately, I think where I want to go to right with this is yeah, I mean, all of that can happen, but all of that can happen in the real world as well, right? There's not a lot of environments that are like that. Maybe, 100% commission type environments. But then, what do you do in the circumstance? How do you be a decent person? How do you sort of love yourself? Well, you just do, right? You define yourself based on you being a good person and forgetting about everything else that is going on around you, right? You do things that make you happy and healthy, and you put those boundaries up around you. I think, if you think about the world, um, in the sort of grander scheme of things, and getting away from people are going to be supportive and all those kind of things, and just say, how can I be me, and how can I be a good person? How can I shine? How can I feel good inside, regardless of what everybody else is doing? I think that that is a better framework to think about what is actually going on, right? Because if you have those boundaries, if you have your sense of self, and I know that's hard, right? Like I speak about that a lot. It is a really, really hard thing. If you have your sense of self and you just keep walking forward, regardless of what is going on and how you feel, and having that confidence of like, I'm gonna be perfectly fine no matter what happens. I can walk away. I can do any number of things that will make my life just wonderful, and I'll be totally fine about it. If I have that belief, if I have that sort of strong belief, then I'm just fine wherever I am, and repeat that in my head, and then I'm not stuck. That I have lots of options. I'm a talented person. That um, that a lot of people do like me, but maybe not in that circumstance, right? Where you um, are not competing against them, right? If you think about this, if you sort of start really thinking about this and trying to be an independent person and forgetting about all of that stuff that goes on, um, you really can do well, and you can thrive in it because you just don't pay attention to what the rest of the world is actually doing, right? Where you take that step back and you just say, I am going to be me. I'm going to be a decent person. If I see somebody that is in need, I'll stop, right? Like so sometimes it's the whole Good Samaritan story, right? Like people walking by repeatedly. And it's a good story in the Bible, right? Like people just walking by and not sort of paying attention to this one person that needs help, and you stop and you help. Um, and there's laws to protect you against that sort of helping in case somebody helps. They turn and sort of bite you, which they will do, right? Like a lot of people may do. In fact, probably the majority of the people that if you go and reach out and help them, but you just do it because you're a decent person, um, and you're okay with that, right? Like you think about, and it's hard to do that. I realize that, but it is very much the sort of story of how can I be okay with me? And if I see somebody, I'll help them, but I'm not going to let them take advantage of me. And I am going to just keep walking forward, being happy and healthy, and doing the things that make me me, right? Like, I think having that perspective really is forgiving. And I think having the deep rooted belief that you're awesome, right? And if you're awesome, by definition, nobody can take away from you, right? Like you're doing okay, and you just walk forward and you smile, and you wish people well when they're trying to do things that may not be good for everybody, but you just wish them well, and you go forward and you say, I'm solid inside. And yes, when I say that, I'm kind of like, am I really solid? I've got all these doubts, but ultimately, I think I am, right? Like, I think as much as somebody can be, I'm solid with who I am inside. And I just walk forward. So, I've got family members that have very hard jobs that are not really liked in a lot of ways. Um, family and friends that have those sort of positions. And I know that they're just wonderful people. And I know that they're good, decent human beings. And so what do you do in that circumstance? The same thing. You you just stand up and you say, I'm good. I think that this is the right decision. You might not necessarily like that, but that's okay. If you have, um, if you sort of emotionally react in all those kind of ways and do things that are not great for yourself or great for me, um, that that's it. I am just going to walk forward, and I'm going to be a caring and compassionate person, and I'm going to do these sort of simple things that give me joy, like, I don't know, gardening, going for walks, saying hi, talking to neighbors, doing very simple things, and I'm going to do those things, and I'm just going to be okay with that, right? And the rest of the world can have all of these emotional reactions and do all those kind of things, but that is okay. You let them sort of do those things, and you wish them well. There's a good old Southern saying, and I love it. It's bless your heart. Like, just you hope that somebody will become okay. Um, and then maybe someday they will. But until then, you just got to walk forward and love who you are, regardless of what is going on around you. All right. That's my view. Yeah. I mean, you can let it be toxic and sort of eat you up, and um, it's true. But at the same time, you can also be you. And if you be you and you're kind, you're generous, you spend time talking to other people, I think that just seems like a much better way to live. All right. Take care and have a wonderful day.